Shocking details to a past New York Knicks trade have just been revealed a few years later, and we're going to break it down because it's a fun topic to do in the offseason. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into the video as we always do. Because a few years ago, there could have been a shocking trade between the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics. And let's just jump right in and look at it, because it's really hard to believe. So according to Jake Fisher, ahead of the 2019 trade deadline, the New York Knicks and Boston Celtics discussed a trade centered around Kristaps Porzingis for Kyrie Irving. Now, Irving's discontent with the Celtics was becoming apparent, and he was strongly linked to an eventual pairing with Kevin Durant. Now, we heard so much noise about KD and Kyrie and the Knicks in 2019. It was every single story all the time about the Knicks. Now, the Knicks were terrible that year. They went 17-65. They were not a free agency destination outside of the fact that they had money and they were in New York. That is where it ended. Now, all of us Knicks fans fully really dove in. We're like, yeah, we're going to get KD and Kyrie. We're going to win the championship next year, even though we're 17-65 right now. When you look back on it, it's an absolutely absurd thought to have had. But the Knicks almost did get Kyrie in a trade that at the time would have been better than the one they eventually did trade Porzingis for. Now, we know Porzingis wanted out, and we're going to talk about that in one moment. But also, we knew that the Knicks, at this point, were already linked to Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving to a degree. Now, they were linked to KD all season long. In September of 2018, Jay Williams said that he fully believes Kevin Durant's plan is to try to revive the Knicks after he leaves the Warriors, because it would just absolutely erase everything that people thought about him when it came to him joining the Warriors, which, to this day, I think maybe with the exception of Shohei Ohtani going to the Dodgers, and I don't think that it is, I think Kevin Durant made the weakest move in free agency history in sports. I think it was the most coward move any athlete has ever done. To go to the team that beat you, to go to your rival who you had one game away from going to the NBA Finals against, and then you just go to that team. Like, you don't even look upset when you just blew a 3-1 lead. And don't get me wrong, they blew that lead because Kevin Durant stunk it up in games 5 and 6. He choked, then joins the team that beats him. I said it at the time. I'll say it again. I don't think Kevin Durant is a winning player. I just don't think he's a winner. I think he's great. I think he's one of the 15 greatest players in basketball history. I do not think the man is a winner whatsoever. Now, the Knicks, us fans, did not care about that. We just saw Kevin Durant win 2 rings prior to that. So you know what? He kind of looked like he was a winner despite the fact of where he was winning. Then, obviously, they didn't come here. But there was so much around the story, and Kevin Durant and Rich Kleiman talked about this, and this was a few years later after KD was either off the Nets or about to leave the Nets, and he said, will you tell the camera and whatever Knicks fans will watch this that I wanted you to go to the Knicks, according to Rich Kleiman, his manager. And then KD responded, you definitely did. You definitely did more than anything. Now, Rich Kleiman is a Knicks fan. Kevin Durant's dad and his aunt, his dad, Wayne Pratt, is a New Yorker who is a Knicks fan. Everyone in Kevin Durant's family, with the exception of his mom, Wanda, who was just like, you do your own thing because she's just cool, was like, go to the Knicks. Just do it. Go to the Knicks. And then KD obviously didn't. And to this day, I think if he didn't tear his Achilles, he would have went to the Knicks. I totally think he would have ended up going to the Knicks if he did not get injured. But then he lost power over Kyrie. Him and Kyrie wanted to be teammates. That's very fair. And Kyrie wanted to play for the Nets. Kyrie did not want to play for the Knicks. I think part of it is Kyrie doesn't want the whole media circuit from just like being on the Knicks. And Kevin Durant certainly didn't want it. So I think it gave them a reason to go to a team that didn't have fans anyway, so they could kind of hide from that media. And I'm not saying that like, oh, they're hiding from the media. No, the New York Knicks media is relentless. And they have idiots like me who look like this in the shirt he's about to go to the gym in and some Yankee hat because he doesn't like his hair right now to talk about this stuff 5 years later. It's understandable why they didn't want to go to the Knicks. I get it. They were terrible. Their best player was probably Mitchell Robinson and Damian Dotson that year. But if they traded for Kyrie, it would have looked better at the time. Obviously, the Knicks would have sucked that year anyway. Kyrie would have won them like 10 more games probably, and then the Knicks still would have just been terrible and missed the playoffs by a country mile. And Kyrie still could have went to the Nets and left anyway. So maybe Kyrie's like, you know what, I'm here. Let me just get KD to come here, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But did I just actually say, what am I, a kindergarten teacher? I'm losing my mind, guys. This is what happens when I wake up late on a Monday morning. But I just honestly think that it all worked out for the best. I think it's hard to believe it didn't. Because when we look back on things, yeah, maybe the Knicks would have gotten KD and Kyrie. And maybe then they would have been stupid enough to let KD and Kyrie run the team and try to trade for James Harden. Now, we know from the Brooklyn Nets already trading all their picks back in 2014 that you don't trade all your draft picks because eventually one of them is going to become the third overall pick, or maybe two of them are going to become the third overall pick. Well, the Nets did it again, and guess who has the third overall pick this year? Not the Nets, even though it is theirs, because they're a poverty franchise. The Knicks dodged a massive bullet by not signing Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Now, I understand, had the Nets been healthy in 2021, they would have won the NBA Finals. I get it. They would have. But they weren't healthy. You're banking on KD and Kyrie, two people who were never really healthy, who are rarely healthy. You were banking on James Harden, someone who had perennial hamstring and quad issues. You're banking on guys with terrible mindsets. Now, obviously, I would have rathered them get those guys and win the 2021 NBA Finals than, anything else, so the Knicks could have won a Finals. But at the same time, the Knicks are in an excellent position right now, and they never would have gotten Jalen Brunson had this went down. Brunson just wouldn't have ended up being on the Knicks. Leon Rose would not be here. The Knicks would probably still have a mess of a front office, and things would have went poorly. But as Kyrie said, the Knicks did have a good chance at getting both him and KD back in free agency, and he said, we just felt like we wanted to build here and make our mark on this franchise. And I mean, in Kyrie's defense, he did make his mark on the Brooklyn Nets. He went out, made himself look dumb, made KD look dumb, made the Nets look dumb, made James Harden look insane, and then they all just left. Now, KD's on the Suns, who are a failing team, mainly because Matt Ashiba is nuts and is trying to play NBA 2K with the NBA, which is just not how things work. And also, KD's not a winner. And Kyrie is on the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA Finals. The third person in this is also in the NBA Finals. Did he help his team get there? Well, in the regular season, sure. But then he got injured, and clearly the Celtics didn't need him to get to the Finals since they had a cakewalk. Probably the easiest walk to the NBA Finals in the last 25 years. Because, those Cavs teams that made it, it's like LeBron and Kyrie were just that good, dude. That's different. The Celtics are that good, but they don't have a top 5 player in the NBA. They just had no top 10 players to go against because Brunson and Embiid got eliminated. Mainly because Embiid couldn't beat the Knicks. Guys, I'm losing my mind right now. I'm so tired. But that's not the point. And when it comes to Porzingis, Posting and Toasting did a review, a 5-year review this year, and they said that on January 31st, 2019, it was reported at 1:17 p.m. that Porzingis met with management and made his discontent known. Within 2 hours, reports emerged that Porzingis wished to be traded. Steve Mills later said that in the trade request, Porzingis threatened management by telling him he would play in Europe if he wasn't traded. Now, this was reported by Posting and Toasting. I think a lot of us remember that report. That Porzingis basically forced his way out because his brother Giannis, spelled differently than the one that we all know, just was like, no, leave. And Porzingis later came out and said that he felt like he did it very poorly, and he was 22 years old, so I think 22-year-olds are allowed to make mistakes. I'm 22. I screw things up all the time. You know what? We do that stuff. That's what we do at that age. But look, I think it all worked out for the best. Porzingis ended up being teammates with the best player in the NBA and also Luka Doncic for a bit. Now, the best player in the NBA and Jalen Brunson wasn't that at the time, but maybe that complete just weird situation with Dallas when they just go from being really good to really bad multiple times, including missing the playoffs last year and being in the NBA Finals this year. Brunson dipped, and he went to the Knicks. And it all worked out for us. Now, we still need to win a championship, or it's going to be a real bummer. But it worked out better than we ever could have expected, and that's a lot in part thanks to Leon Rose and the awesome New York Knicks fan base, just because people now want to play here again, because we're great, management's great, and now when KD wants to come here, when he wants to jump ship again, we could be like, nah, Kevin Durant's not what's cool anymore. Just flip it back in his face. I don't know who I want to root for in the NBA Finals, because I don't like Mark Cuban and the Mavericks for being childish about losing Jalen Brunson to the Knicks and their fans who think Kyrie's somehow better than Jalen Brunson because they're biased. I really don't like the Celtics. I think Jason Tatum's very overrated. I think that they've got such a cakewalk. It'd be funny to watch them get punched in the mouth by an actually good team with a better player like the Mavs and Luka. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'm going to put a poll on Knicks Digest just to check in. It's been a day or two since I recorded a YouTube video, and I'm a little bit out of the groove right now, but we're going to keep pushing. Guys, leave a comment on your thoughts below. Have a great day. Like and subscribe, and go Knicks.